Turn me up, turn me up. If tomorrow is Judgment Day,
Sing, mommy.
and I'm standing on the front line.
To the private arena, so that everybody can get a job, right? And not just any job. We don't need minimum wage. We need living wages where we can support our families and have homes and vehicles and insurance and retirement security, those types of things, right? And all those who have come before you, all of our ancestors who have blazed trails and paved ways for us to come to be here today. Also let it ground you in your vision for what you'd like to see for yourself, for your babies, for your grandbabies. What does that legacy look like, and what are you doing today? Thank you for your time.
Our ancestors were brought here to serve. When slavery ended with the passing of the 13th Amendment in 1865, when there was no longer a need for us to serve, the United States government and its think tanks and its corporations began to devise strategies and programs to remove and eliminate the black male from the American social order. This is what they've been working on for the past 143 years. And it has consistently gotten more demonic and demonic as the years went on. With an idea that will convince these white racist school districts to accept black children. So what would that strategy become? It would become known as special education. Special education was created by the United States government in 1975 on the eve of the busing movement to do what? Allow white school districts to resegregate black kids from white kids. But they couldn't say it was because they were black. They had to come up with a scientific justification. So they called it the learning disability. They called it emotional disturbance. They called it ADHD. They called it autism. They called it conduct disorder. They called it oppositional defiant disorder. And through these labels, they've been able to miseducate and incarcerate an entire generation of black children. Today I want to talk about that. Because I know we have parents in the audience who believe in ADHD. I want to talk about it. Because I know we have parents in the audience who believe in the learning disability. I want to talk about it. Because we have parents in the audience who believe nothing wrong with giving my little brothers rhythm. Who believe there's nothing wrong with Adderall. Who believe there's nothing wrong with Prozac and Medipede and Concerta, Paxil, depakote, and Risperdal. If you are a believer in that system, my goal today is to convince you that your beliefs are incorrect. You think that because we're 8 generations after the chain and after the whip, that you're no longer an incarcerated consciousness. You are wrong. You are as incarcerated today as you were yesterday, as you were 143 years ago. Because slavery was a psychological conditioning process, an experiment in dehumanization. And we who are the descendants of those oppressed Africans still carry the pain. We carry the scars. We carry the hurt in our DNA. And that's why white psychology and white psychiatry is not sufficient to solve the problems of black people, because they don't deal with soul power. Now, black psychology is based on the premise that in order to help the African, you have to address the condition of his spirit. And if you do not address the condition of his spirit, you can treat his alcohol addiction. It might go away for a few days, but it will come on back. You can't address her depression. It might go away for a few days, but it'll come on back. You won't be able to address those relationship problems we have in our families. They'll go away for a little while, but they'll come on back, because the American mental health establishment is about treating symptoms, not causes. And today we're going to get down to the causes. Is it the child with a learning disability or the teacher with an instructional disability? Is it the child with the learning disability or the school with a pedagogical disability? Is it the child with the learning disability or the whole school district with an educational disability? We have to stop blaming our children for the sins of the system. And I got a problem with some of you too. Because some of you are hustling your children in the name of disability. Some of you are literally getting them diagnosed with learning disabilities and ADHDs so you can cash in with an SSI check. Some of you are just as bad as the system. Picking the cotton of miseducation and making your children bear the lash of psychiatric medication. Some of you are the overseers for the mental health cartel. See, let me explain this. 75% of black boys on psychiatric medication don't have father figures in their life. 75%. Think of all the boys you know on drugs. Think of all the little ones with conduct disorder and ADHD. Where's the father? He's not there. So I question you, is this really a psychiatric illness? Or is this a black family issue? Isn't there something hypocritical about the social order that will lock a boy's father up and send him to jail for selling crack, but then give a synthesized version of that same drug to his son so he can sit still long enough to be miseducated by middle-class white women? There's something wrong! They will lock up my father and give me the same drug that sent my father in jail so I can sit still long enough to learn about Ellen Kellen and Franklin Christopher Columbus. There's something wrong with that kind of a system. Let me explain something to you. There's no such thing as a dropout rate in America. Our boys do not drop out. They are pushed out by the treatment that they receive. I'm telling you today that when it comes to education, you cannot afford to trust anybody in that system. I didn't say you had to disrespect them. I didn't say you had to be adversarial. But if you walk into the school with the assumption that this system cares about my child, you already made a mistake. Because in 21st century America, the school is an extension of the prison system. In every state in America spends more money on building prisons than they do on building schools. So if the school is an extension of the jail, that means teachers are the new probation officers. For my single mothers, I want you to know that I don't blame you when your sons go awkward. I blame the lazy ass black men in Akron who sit there and watch you struggling to raise those boys and don't help you out. That's what I'm going to blame. The brothers who see you struggling, and don't come and offer to help you with your son. Ain't no woman supposed to be stuck raising a boy by herself. And every man in this audience should have at least 3 young men who are not your own flesh, for whom you are responsible for. If we were to call ourselves a community. This problem of the black male, this problem is largely a problem of an over-suffocation of too much feminine energy in their life. They got their mother all day at home. I got a female teacher all day at school. Can I get a black man in my life? Can I get a role model? Can I get a big brother? Can I get somebody who looks like me? They want to learn as much as everybody else. So I want to do 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of black parents got better things to do to raise their kids today. Have you not been paying attention? Do you know that ADHD is an attention deficit? Not on behalf of the child, but on behalf of their parents. They are attention deficit from you. Mama got no time for John because she's too busy looking for a man. Daddy got no time for his daughters because he's too busy looking for a woman of his own. We got clubs to go to and careers to lead and degrees to get, and so our kids get pushed to the back of the line. And what does a child do when they don't get enough attention at home? They go to school and try to compensate for what you didn't do. They don't need medication for that. All they need is a parent who cares.
Grand Central Station. It's okay if you're sleeping with me. As the years they pass us by, we stay young.